Hello and welcome to this very first video of a post-launch tutorial series of Project Succession. I'm gonna keep this very focused, but today we're going to go through the UI. When you log into Project Succession and you acquire your license, you will be greeted with this little screen, which is the main UI of Project Succession. The main UI is separated into three large areas. We have on the left side the left sidebar, which is separated in between two tabs. And we have the work area in the middle, which is the main place where you do stuff. And on the right side, you have your settings per node. Next, I'm going to show you the deployment dashboard, which is a completely different mode of Project Succession. Here you will find all your different currently running workflow instances. You can inspect, update, and edit them from here. You can also stop them, obviously. Going back to the work area, you now see actually that it lost the license of the snippets. Interesting. And now it reconnected a few times and found the license again. Okay. Um, so here we have under nodes two big categories of nodes. We have triggers and we have actions. Triggers are used to trigger a workflow. For example, on Maya file saved, do something. And actions are exactly that something. Um, this is then something which is happening. For example, uh, use given images and create a sprite sheet out of it. Or send an HTTP request to X places. In total, we have around 230 nodes, and snippets on the other side are a collection of nodes. These snippets you can create yourself by just having a node dragged in. You can just select a node and drag it in. And when you save that as a snippet, you can give it a name, an optional description, and when you save it, it's gonna show up here. You don't have to just save one node as a snippet, but you can actually save multiple. So what you see here, we have, for example, expand environment into data, which takes the integration data variable name and expands this environment variable into a string. And then since we expect in this case a JSON string, we directly inject the data into our workflow so we can use it further. Let's delete that. As you see, I just pressed delete to delete these nodes. Nodes can be obviously not just dragged in, but you can also just press space to search directly through all of your nodes and your snippets. Snippets are gonna by default show up on top. When you select a node, be it a trigger or an action, you do have on the right side the settings. The settings, let's make this a little bit bigger, are partially mirrored also on the node itself. So you can directly on the node add some file paths here, or you can do this here. And you can also change these here, etc. Yeah. We also do have a retry mechanism per node. So whenever a node fails, it doesn't mean the end of the world. You can retry that node or before you stop your workflow. By default, you're gonna stop your workflow if that node fails. Nodes should not fail though. If they do, something really went wrong, something is missing, etc. Most of the nodes have like a specific failure output, error output, where you can define then in the graph below your preferred failure. behavior. You can change the name of your nodes via labels. You can give it an alias. Aliases are used in parameter scripting. I won't go into depth here now. And you see up here the type of the node. So much for basic nodes. You can just toggle disable them, right? So if they are disabled, they're not gonna be executed, or you can delete them. What else? Up here in the burger menu, you see different options. The most important now are, apart from the standard file system ones like save, load, save as, new pipeline, etc. You have your solutions, which are basically just a collection of individual workflows, and under help you find the documentation, which is really important for you. Under user guide in the documentation, you see a bunch of information. This might be a little outdated because last time I actually updated it was a few features back, but it's basically a good starting point to get somewhere. If you find some inaccuracies around what the documentation says and how project succession actually behaves, please, please go here, report a bug, and tell me that something is wrong. Reporting a bug obviously should happen all the time if you find something not working. These reported bugs will end up directly in my inbox, so I can actually then triage them and potentially resolve them. And I think that's mostly it. So it really isn't that big of a tool when it comes to the interface. The real power comes from connecting nodes, from building large pipelines. Let me actually quickly show you something. So if we go in here, you can see what we have. For example, in this solution, that's just a little showcase to showcase you the to display you the potential. Here we have a Slack bot, which we did build, which automatically creates us icon dummies. So all our users need to do are tagging a Slack bot, and they're getting like a fully processed SVG icon back. And this can then be implemented into our game, or we can put it into Illustrator and work further on it. It's really, really cool. And this is like built out of obviously an on Slack mention trigger. And in the end, we send it back to Slack. And in between, all the magic happens. We have a whole error logging here section, which basically triggers when something in the event graph errors out. And then we take this error and we actually also send it to Slack. So this is just one little example of how cool things can be in the end. So you see also this is going really, really deep. You might see here we have some loops. If you double click on these loops, you actually get into the subgraphs. So here we have another subgraph. And there we have an even more, even deeper subgraph. And even one more. So you see a lot of nodes and a lot of complexity can be organized with project succession to a very successful amount of data. This works super reliably. This thing runs day, runs night. It has almost no memory overhead. It just runs on a server and our Slack bot just provides. I hope this little, yeah, look out into the future, what we're gonna build here. One day, when we go through all the basics, um, might build and what you might build. Have a wonderful evening. It's evening here, and see you in the next video. Cheers.